Hey guys, this is Jason. Welcome back to another Parallels in the Multiverse. Today we're going to be talking about LeMillion from My Hero Academia. So first, a little spoiler warning. I am going to be bringing up manga spoilers from the last few chapters of the story, so if you don't want to get spoiled on that, leave and come back some other time. If you're all caught up or just don't care, sit back and enjoy the ride. So now that you've been warned, let's begin. I recently got to see the fourth My Hero movie in theaters, and it was a very pleasant experience. The movie itself wasn't my favorite of the four, but it was still very good and very enjoyable. It was very well animated too. The animators took a crack or something on the for the last portion of the movie, and it was really good. But one of the highlights of the movie for me was when LeMillion showed up, my favorite character in the entire series, and I was really excited to see him. He helps all the civilians get to safety, and then he goes back and one-shots one of Dark Might's goons. And it was really funny and very good. I was really happy to see him there. In the main story, though, he shows up at the end of Season 3 with Tamaki and Nijire to help teach Class 1A about hero work and stuff. In the next scene, all of Class 1A is training against Mirio, and he solos all of them. He, solos all of them. He punches them so hard that they all get one shot, and then he screams power at the end of it, and it was so cool to see that. Eraserhead says that he believes that LeMillion is the closest to the number one hero out of every hero in Japan, which says a lot because Eraserhead is a very hard person to impress, and Mirio is still a student, so him saying, Eraserhead saying that he's pretty much number one says a lot about, his skill level. And in Season 4, Deku joins Mirio at Night Eye's hero agency for his work study. And this leads to Mirio going up against Overhaul. So this is probably a good time to actually explain his quirk. It's called Permeation. Permeation allows Mirio to pass through objects when it's activated. When a quirk is released while he's inside an object, he'll fly out of it with high speeds. Originally, Mirio couldn't really control permeation super well. It's a very complicated ability, but after months of hard work, he's able to masterfully use it. He's able to control it so that certain parts of his body are permeated at once, and uses the force of him popping out from the ground to land heavy blows. With this, he's able to perform ultimate techniques such as Phantom Menace to rapidly hit opponents in a short amount of time. In his fight against Overhaul, he's overwhelmed him for a good majority of the fight, but Overhaul is a little cheater, and he shoots a quirk erasing bullet at a girl named Eri who everybody was trying to protect this arc and save. And obviously, Mirio couldn't let her get hurt or anything, so he jumps in front of the bullet. He gets shot by a bullet as a normal human, basically, and he loses his quirk. And this sucks. This really sucks. But despite losing his quirk, he's continuing to fight Overhaul just by reading his movements, being faster, and just, being skillful. It's crazy that this powerless man is going up against Overhaul, who has a very overpowered quirk, by the way. And he lasts for 10 minutes or so, I think. There's a number, I don't remember what it was, but any amount of time is impressive. And he keeps fighting until he has absolutely nothing left. Mirio's goal and reason for his namesake, LeMillion, is because of his ultimate goal to save 1 million people. However, losing his quirk put a massive damper on this. But instead of walling, Mirio creates a new goal: to make Eri smile. And this is inspired by the late Sir Night Eye. There's a quote that says, "A world without smiles isn't that good." I don't actually remember the exact quote, I'm sorry. But he wants to make Eri smile. So he begins spending a good chunk of his day with her, and it brings her to the school festival, which ultimately allows her to smile after hearing Class 1A perform. And she's finally able to break free from all the trauma that Overhaul put her through. Because after this, Eri begins to learn how to use her power properly, and eventually, after a few months, she's able to give Mirio his quirk back through her quirk of Rewind. Immediately after this, Mirio jumps into action. He goes up against in the war arc against a bunch of people. We see him one-shot a Nomu with, like, a Falcon Kick, and saves Burnin in the process. Then he goes to back up Best Genus, who also just came back, by the way, and fights a group of Nomus during the war. The anime shows Mirio getting knocked out by All For One. This didn't actually happen in the manga. All For One just gets away, and LeMillion doesn't get KO'd. So I prefer that version because it hypes up my boy again. Anyway, in the final war arc, LeMillion goes up against Shigaraki with Tamaki and Najire. He gets a massive punch in on him, and it was beautifully animated. Once again, they did a good job in Season 7. He also becomes the first person to actually damage Shigaraki in this fight by pretty much telling him that he has no friends. And this really makes Shigaraki mad. He yells at him and says he does have friends. And the polite Mirio apologizes to this guy, even though he's, like, destroyed so much. He's the ultimate villain, but Mirio's still sorry for him. And he continues to distract him until Deku arrives on the battlefield, and then becomes his therapist and calms him down when he believes that Bakugo is dead. So LeMillion did a lot during this last fight. If he didn't calm Deku down, they would have lost, pretty much, because Deku would have lost control, and, like, that's what Shigaraki wanted. He wanted to get him while he's defenseless, basically. LeMillion's a guy who puts in the work, like, all the time, and is somebody to look up for that. He doesn't have the greatest quirk in the world, but he uses it so well and makes the absolute most of it that he's able to accomplish so much with it. He does everything he can to save one person, as we saw when he took a literal bullet and gave up on his dreams to just save that one person. And once again, when he gets his quirk back, he immediately goes into action and starts saving people. He does absolutely everything possible to save people and win fights, and he just works so hard. He's, like, if I look in a dictionary and look up hard work, I would probably see LeMillion's face. And he really shows that indomitable human spirit that we should all be striving for. In the final chapter of My Hero Academia, Deku is talking to Eraserhead, and they're talking about how LeMillion's doing a great job as the #1 hero in Japan. I cried when I found out that LeMillion became #1, and I can feel some tears right now when I'm talking about it. But I was so ecstatic to hear that he really did become the #1 hero. With all that said and done, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.